Good afternoon and welcome to the Office of Research Regulatory Affairs Research Matters. I am Scott Myers, the Clinical Research Educator for UT Southwestern's Office of Research Regulatory Affairs, and I will be one of the moderators for today's session. Some quick reminders. If you have any questions for our presenters during today's session, please type them in the Q&A. One of the moderators will respond to you during the session, or we will address it at the end of the presentations. The session is being recorded, and you can watch it again right after it's finished by clicking on the Microsoft Teams live link in the email invitation. You can find the links to future meetings and past recordings on the Human Research Protection Program Office's Research Matters website under the Training and Resources page. Also, as a reminder, the slides from today's session will not be posted to the website, only the recording. Okay, so just the recording, but the slides will be sent out in the listserv right after the session. We do provide a certificate of attendance for those who have logged in using a valid email address. If you do not receive one via email but should have, please send an email to hrpp@utsouthwestern.edu to request a certificate. Lastly, as I say every time, we really would like to hear from you. We use the information you provide to plan for our future topics for these sessions. We want to give you all what you want, okay? It's also an opportunity for you to let us know how the speakers did and how our department as a whole is doing. So please, if you can find the time, take a few moments to complete that survey. You can access the survey using the QR code on your computer or by selecting the link. We will also drop a link to the survey in the Q&A. Okay, so here is the agenda for today's session. First, Weam Ali from our Quality Assurance and Monitoring team will present Delegation Log Updates and Maintenance to explain why updating and maintaining a delegation log is crucial for ensuring that all study-related tasks are properly assigned and reflect the most current documentation of responsibilities and staff changes. Then, Natalie Lemanchek from our IRB team will present Ethos Usability, where and how to respond to clarification requests, a presentation on how to respond to clarification requests across new study submissions, modifications, and continuing reviews. Natalie will also discuss tips for how reviewers in the Human Research Protection Program notate required changes, clear required response comments, and where you can find IRB-related comments and clarifications. And finally, as always, if time permits, we will conclude with an open Q&A session. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over now to Weam for her presentation.
Thank you, Scott. Hello, everyone. My name is Weam Ali. I'm a regulatory monitoring analyst with the quality team to UT Southwestern. Today, we're presenting the delegation log maintenance and update. So the delegation log in clinical research is a document that outlines the authority and responsibility assigned to each member of the research team. It is essential for ensuring that all study-related tasks are performed by qualified personnel and that the study is conducted according to the protocol and applicable regulations. So this log typically should include the names of the delegated staff, their roles, and the tasks they are authorized to perform. Why this document is important? It's important because it shows oversight and accountability, and it facilitates monitoring activities and audits, and it supports compliance with GCP. Next slide. Oh, sorry, I think now you can see. So I already went over this slide. So the next slide will be key component of the delegation log. So one of the component of the delegation log is having a comprehensive list of staff. So we need to include and list all staff members delegated to perform a task in the study. And we should have all their tasks specified and cleared. So the other important component is the delegated tasks themselves. So as I mentioned, we need to specify them. We need to list whatever task each member is completing or conducting, such as clinical duties, data management, or whatever else like they're delegated or authorized to complete. The other components is signatures and initials. It is so crucial to capture each study member delegated a task in the study, a signature and initials, because that way we can show that they're understanding and they're agreeing and accepting of all the tasks delegated for them. So we need to capture that, and whenever they like attest by giving a signature and initial, we need to have the PI sign off on their task delegation as well. So other components is very important is the training documentation. So before we add any study member to the delegation log, we need to ensure they're trained properly on the protocol and all regulatory aspect of the protocol just to before we delegate any task for them. So it's expected for whoever delegated a task in the delegation log that they have the proper documentation, the licensing to perform the task that delegated to complete. Other component of the delegation log, it's update and maintenance. It's so important to maintain, so to update the the delegation log regularly by whenever we have like a new staff member added that we need to change it. We need to update it whenever we have a staff removed. And we need to update it whenever we have any change in the task delegated. So all that should be documented properly in the delegation log. Lastly, the other component is regulatory compliance. The delegation log serves as a key document for regulatory compliance. The reason why, because it's demonstrating the PI oversight on the study. And besides that, it shows that all staff performing tasks in the study, they are qualified and properly trained to complete the task delegated to them. Next slide. So we already maybe spoken over that topic, the signature and initial for staff members, but I just want to reiterate because it's so important and crucial to capture signatures and initial for whoever delegated a task in the study and beside the PI signature. And I wanted to note that it's required per the ICH E6 R3 guidelines that any study member delegated a task should sign an initial on the delegation logs whenever they're delegated a task in the study. And we should ensure that we add the PI in the delegation log in addition to the study members. Besides that, I need to emphasize on the importance of capturing the PI signatures or initial and date on each task delegation for each study member. So whenever you delegate a task to a study member and you put a start date, just make sure you have the PI sign off initial and date on the start date. And whenever they have their tasks removed or ended, you need to capture the PI signatures or initials and date again. Once they are removed or their task ended. Next slide. Sorry. So in this slide, I just have a template delegation log. This one, sometimes some sites, they request that. And of course, if you want us to provide you a copy of that template, you can always reach out to HRPP monitoring at utsouthwestern.edu and we can provide you with that template if needed. But I wanted to show you this template because we recommend that you have in the delegation log, you utilize for your study all the elements included in this template. So whenever you complete the delegation log for a study, just make sure you have the investigator name, you have the protocol title. If you have a site number assigned to the study, you need to capture it as well. As you see here, we have a column for study staff, to capture all their names, their role in the study, their responsibilities, initials and signature. As we mentioned, it's required per the ICH guidelines, and their start date. Whenever you put a start date for each member, you have to capture the PI initial, signature, and date on their start date. If they are ended from the study, they're no longer with the site, they don't do any task delegated for this study, you need to capture the PI initials and date as well at the end of their delegation. You see here we have a responsibility list, so you can just capture, they're coded to numbers, you can just capture the numbers in the responsibility field in the log. If you have other tasks that study members complete, you can always add them next to other here, and then you just capture them in the responsibility field. At the bottom, you see here, there's a signature line for the investigator. We capture the signature and date at the closeout of the study, like at the end of the study. So that's why we have this field at the bottom, and we note here that that's going to be to be captured at the study closure. So that's the end of it. As I mentioned again, you can request a copy of this template by reaching out to us at hrppmonitoring@utsouthwestern.edu. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Thank you so much for your time, and I will turn it over to Natalie.
Thank you, William. And yes, Natalie is up next.
Can everyone see my screen? Okay. So today I will be going over ethos usability and where and how to respond to clarification requests. So there are three main categories I feel like a lot of study teams interact with the IRB office with when it comes to clarifications. And we're going to be discussing the specifics on how to respond to clarifications across those three categories. So that's going to be new study clarifications, modification clarifications, and continuing review clarifications. For all of them, we're going to kind of discuss what the clarification response expectations are, where you can find the clarifications, and then specifically for new study clarifications, we're going to discuss how to resolve response required comments. So we're going to start off with new study clarifications. So clarifications will typically be sent by an HRPP analyst through the ethos system. You'll usually find a comment like the one depicted below, requesting that they respond to comments in the SMART form by a particular end date, and that if they don't provide a response, then the submission will be withdrawn. This can be found in the history tab of the main study page as shown below. To actually find the specific clarifications for new studies, you should enter into the study itself. Clarifications will be denoted typically by a yellow text box with a red dot above it. The red dot indicates that it is a response required comment. And to view the particular comment, you should navigate to the section under which it's listed. So in this case, we're going to go to section 6, the study summary and consent form section. Once in the section, you should scroll down to the particular question that has the comment attached to it. In this case, it's going to be question 12, which pertains to consent forms. To view the specific information within the clarification, you should click that little text box with the red dot above it. Once you do, it will populate a response text field kind of similar to the one shown. It will look a little different for study team members just because this is going to be the HRPP view of these comments. But generally speaking, it will have the name of the analyst who left the comment, and then next to it, if it is a response required comment, it will show response required in red text. Here, it's telling the study team to respond to the comments on the consent form, which means that that document that's currently uploaded has comments from the HRPP analyst that they would like some responses on. To actually clear response required comments, you should always click reply underneath the comment itself. This actually allows you to type a response and will clear the comment from the response required format. You must clear all response required comments before you're able to actually resubmit a study that's had clarifications requested. Once you've replied to all of the comments, please always ensure you click submit response. This is the final action that needs to be done to make sure that the submission has actually returned to the HRPP analyst that has done the clarification requests. And you can find this function on the left-hand side of the main study page. Comments by, oh, here we go. So now we're going to go to modification clarifications. These will look a little bit different, simply because the Ethos system has some limitations as far as how we can actually denote clarifications within the modification smart form. So for modification clarifications, they will also typically be sent through the Ethos system. The specific details of the changes are requested can be found in the history tab of the main study page. We will usually list out whatever specific clarification requests we have as bulleted points within this clarification request comment. In this particular example, I've requested that the study team update and provide a new protocol, update the modification intake page, the STU number that they're referring to for this particular study, and the AI techniques that they've discussed in the modification intake page in greater detail. Again, I've requested these changes be done by a particular due date, and that if they pass this due date, a withdrawal will occur. Oftentimes, as discussed, modifications will include a list of clarifications beyond a single point. In cases where an HRPP analyst has requested several changes, please ensure you always provide a point-by-point response. And this can be done via the submit response function on the left-hand side of the Ethos webpage. Responses should always answer the clarifications in their entirety. This allows our office to ensure our clarifications were addressed and will eventually allow us to push forward modifications in a more expeditious manner. An example of an appropriate response is included on the next slide. So here, I'm kind of showing what an example of an ideal response would be to the clarification request on the first slide. So they've said that they've added a new redline version of their currently approved protocol. They have indicated what STU number they are pulling data from, and they've added additional language as far as the AI model that they're adding to the study and what the scope of its application will be. And they stated that they've updated the modification intake page to reflect these changes. So that's kind of the expectation as far as how responses for modifications should be done. Moving on, we're going to start discussing CRs and clarification requests for those. CRs, when we request clarifications, it will typically be done through the Ethos system by an HRPP analyst. You will receive an email, and you'll receive an email for all of these as a notification if we do have clarifications. When you open the CR page to actually look at the specific clarification requests, you should click clarification requested. That's highlighted in that blue text box. That is actually a pressable function. And when you do click it, it will populate the specific details of the clarifications that have been requested. So like modification, CRs will usually have several points of clarification. Specific sections that require updating, if there are any, will be identified by the reviewer. And in this example, I've requested that this study team complete an SIRB REDCap form that we have to ensure that the enrollment numbers across all sites are accurate, and that and provided additional context as to why they don't appear accurate, and then to provide deviation logs and provide responses to specific questions in particular sections of the CR. Again, this has been provided a deadline for response and that the study may lapse if they do not respond by that deadline. So when you are submitting responses and you've made the requested changes, make sure you again click submit response on the left-hand side of the page. This again does return it to our office so that we can actually review any responses made. Responses, again, should always clearly answer all clarifications that HRPP analysts might have. This allows our office to ensure questions we may have are answered and to ensure documentation of the responses are also present in the SMART form. It helps both us out and the study team out to make sure that we're keeping track of what's occurred. And I've provided an example again of the appropriate response for a clarification request. For CR. So here, the study team has indicated that the SIRB REDCap forms have been completed for each approved site and where they've actually uploaded these documents in the CR. They state that they have revised the enrollment numbers and confirmed the enrollment numbers with the PI and external site PIs and have provided additional context in a particular section of the CR. They said that they have provided the deviation logs and responses have been provided to those two questions that were highlighted by the reviewer previously. So that's what an appropriate response to a CR clarification should look like. And I've also included a couple best practices for clarification responses. So in general, if clarifications are sent as bulleted items, a response in a bulleted format should be provided to each bullet point that was highlighted by the reviewer. Please ensure you always click submit response on the left-hand side of the study page, as this populates the field where you can answer clarifications, and it will also return it to our office for review. If you have questions on how to respond to a clarification request or what the correct requested action is, please always reach out to your assigned analysts. They will usually sign off where you can see who actually sent the clarification request, and that is the person that you should be reaching out to. And as always, if you do have any questions, we are more than happy to answer those as they arise when you're submitting clarifications. And that is all I have for you guys today.
Okay, thank you so much, Natalie, and also thank you again to William. One moment here while I share my screen. Okay, all right, so everyone, we have concluded the presentations, and so now we have plenty of time to go into an open Q&A session. I invite you to submit any questions or comments that you may have at this time, and I will wait a few minutes to allow you time to get those written up if you have them. And while I'm waiting for you to get any questions typed up, I just want to remind you of the survey. If you can spend just a few minutes to complete the questions, we will use the information to improve the content of these sessions and our presentation of them. The topics that we chose for today came directly from the survey responses. We had folks ask for information about delegation of authority logs and to give more presentations particular to ethos matters, and in this case, responding to clarification, seeing clarification. So it's useful. If you all have anything you would like to be presented on at these meetings, please go ahead and fill out the surveys for us. Okay, so we do. I have one question. Let me publish it now. Okay, so the question is the delegation log example that was shown. Is the form available and where? And is it required? William, I believe that question is for you. Get that question published.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes, so we have this template and we can share it with you. Just reach out to me. You can reach out to HRPP monitoring at utsouthwestern.edu. you can reach out to me, wiam.ali@utsouthwestern.edu as well, and we can give you a copy of the template. It is required to be completed for our studies greater than minimal risk. We need to complete the delegation log, and we need to capture all the elements like we spoke about. So we can provide you with that if needed. We have it in our file, so it's not like, I don't know if it's available. I can check for you if it's available in our website, but we can provide you, as I said, and it's required to be completed for all greater than minimal risk studies. I hope this answered the question.
William, is our exact template required, or can they use?
Oh, no. Sorry. I mean, I thought like she's asking about completing the delegation law. No, it's not required to use that. That's what I said. I mentioned that if needed, we can provide you. We recommend that you have all the elements in the delegation, utilized for your study, the same one that we have in our template. I just wanted to recommend that all the elements supposed to be available on the ones that you utilize for your studies. It's not supposed to be this one, like the one that we provide. No.
Okay, thank you so much, William. Natalie, I think I have a question for you. Now, what if a study team requires more time to address an IRB analyst questions or clarifications?
Yeah, they're always encouraged to reach out to the analyst that's assigned to the item. And we're very flexible. If they require additional time, we usually do provide extensions for clarification responses.
Can I add to that, Natalie? This is Mad. We do allow for a request for additional time, but we do really want you to be realistic about an expected time period in which you can adequately address the IRB concerns so that they don't have to continue touching base and tracking and following up.
Okay, thank you all so much. I think I have another related question. Could we touch on the turnaround times requested for clarification responses? Many of the clarification requests ask for a turnaround time of 3 days, which is very fast for coordinators managing multiple studies, especially since Ethos email notifications aren't reliable. I know that's related to what you were just saying.
Natalie, let me take this question. Okay. So we actually just met with the analyst team on Thursday last week. Let me turn my camera on. Where am I at? New platform, so help, I'm trying to navigate here. Okay, hopefully you all can see me. Okay, so last week we actually just met with the analyst and to identify standardized turnaround times in which we would request materials from the research team. Part of that, we requested that there be, let me see if I can remember the details. I think it's 3 to 7 days for items that require a single member review. And you'll know that an item is eligible for single member review because the notification to you when they're requesting clarifications is going to say, this item is eligible for expedited review or requires full board review. So in that time period, we're going to give you 3 to 7 business days to respond to those items. For items that go to the full board, we're giving you up to 10 days to respond to those items. And so again, we hear about that variability from one analyst to another. Sometimes we're requesting 48 hours, sometimes we're requesting longer. And so we have now a unified approach to requiring when we require those clarifications back to the IRB. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Mayad. Mayad, I know I have quite a few delegation of authority questions that we can go ahead and run through now. First is, when does a delegation of authority entry become a late entry?
William, I think that one's for you.
Oh, you might be muted, William.
Yes, give me a second. I don't see the question.
I just published it. Should be at the top. When does a DOA entry become a late entry?
So to be honest, it depends on when you capture like a start date. It was maybe like a task delegated like a month before the time you entered it, that would be a late entry. You need to document that, have a note to file about it because it's a late entry. You didn't add the personnel or the start date at the exact time when task was delegated. So that would be a late entry. Even like PI signature sometimes is not like captured until at a later time. That would be a late entries, and that in those cases when we have those situations, we would request the site to capture a note to file or create a note to file to document the reason why the signature was not captured, like around the time the task were like delegated to the study member, or maybe around the time the task were ended. So those situation would be considered a late entry. Even when you have a start member, a study member delegated a task, you have the start date, maybe you have had the PI signed off, but you don't have the study member initial and signature, that itself considered a late entry. So those situations we need to capture them. We need to create a note to file to document reason, and we document like a retraining for site to make sure like this like accurate doesn't happen again. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much. And I think I have some more for you here. Okay, when submitting a protocol, we will fill out a personnel form with the specific tasks they are going to be performing. Is the delegation of authority form still needed if they're already doing this? And I will go ahead and publish that. Yeah, you're muted, William.
Yes, let me read the question again, sorry. You just published it, you said, sorry?
Yes, it's now under published.
Yes.
And if you need me to read it again, I can do that.
So if you have a study that is greater than minimal risk, we need to capture delegation log. Form B, I know maybe you're referring to Form B. Form B would be acceptable in situation where you have a minimal risk study, but with greater than minimal risk, it's required to have a delegation log with the start and end date for each study member. We need to specify all the tasks delegated for each study member, because as we mentioned, it's a subject-facing studies. We have risk and safety issues, so we need to capture all those elements in the delegation log. So yes, it's needed on greater than minimal risk. Form B would be acceptable only if we have a minimal risk study. I hope this has answered the question.
Yes, thank you so much, William. And let me see what else we have. There's still time if anybody else has other questions. And then here's a question about I think in both topics we've discussed today, do we have any tip sheets or SOPs that we can share? Do those exist currently? This would be for Natalie and William, if either of you have.
I don't believe we have one specifically for how to respond to clarification requests. But now that this presentation in PowerPoint is created, I'm sure that I and other analysts can start sharing this with study team members. If the management feels the necessity to create a specific SOP, then I would also be happy to create one as well.
Okay, thank you.
So for the for SOP for the delegation log, it's a requirement, and as I mentioned, it's in the ICH E6R3 guidelines. We can share them with you. I'm not sure if I remember the pages, but I think there's a table for source documents, and those probably page 72. I'm not sure, but you can reach out to me individually, and I can send you the guidelines, and I will show you specifically where it's spotted in the guidelines, those requirements for signatures and reflecting of PI oversight and the requirement to have all tasks delegated for specified for each study member. I can do that. Just reach out to me and we can provide you this.
Okay, and William, I do have one more question for you. I think this is related to something you said earlier as well about templates. If we are provided by the sponsor with a delegation of authority log template that they can edit and use to capture data, do they still need to utilize our UT Southwestern specific DOA log template?
No, as I mentioned, I will repeat again. This we showed you the template just to show you the elements required to be captured in the delegation log. You can create your own. You can use the one from the sponsor. We just offer you this in case you need it. If you don't have a template or copy to utilize, you can use ours if needed. It's not required. We just recommend. We show you this to recommend and show you all the elements that needed to be captured in the delegation log. So it's not required. Use the one like provided by the sponsor and collect whatever data they want you to, elements they want you to collect.
All right, thank you so much, William. I believe that is all the questions. For some of you, I may have not read them all. We have a group of people typing responses to some of your Q&A sessions, and they may have just been faster than me. So hopefully we got to everybody. Anybody on my team can stop me.
I think we have a question from Payal Travidi. It's about what should we do as an auditor if one comes across the DOA log that doesn't have a study staff signatures. As I mentioned, if anything is missing, you need to create a note to file documenting the reason why signature was not captured. If is not captured, if the study member is still active in the study, you can capture that. You have to capture the signature and initials. You have them initial and date, the late entry. You state this in the note to file that there was a late entry. Study member didn't initial and sign at the start of task delegation, and this occurrence will be avoided in the future. We have to retrain the study member, even the regulatory analyst who's working on maintaining and updating the log, and we file the note to file in our regulatory binder. And for whoever, no longer in the study, then you just need to state that there is no longer the study member is no longer in the study, and you cannot capture the signature, and the study team will try to capture the signature upon the task delegation. So that would be the best practice.
All right. Okay. I think that's all the questions we have. Let me just check. Yes, looks like it. I want to thank all of our presenters, and I want to thank you for attending today's session. The next Research Matters session is scheduled for March 17th. So have a great rest of your week, and we will see you all next month. Thank you.